Okay, so we were just talking about the ebbs and flows of the fiat currency and how it can change the way that you perceive the ebbs and flows in life. So, do you want to go into more of that and what you were just describing?
Yeah, I was looking at it because it's a mathematical concept, which is the sine wave. Like it's linear time stretched out across, and then you have the wave ups and downs. And I kind of started to notice because of the way it was shaped, it was actually shaped like a serpent, like a snake,
Mm,
and it's also in that whole up and down motion. So I noticed that I think it's the crest is the highest point and the trough is the lowest point. So at the crest point, this is where the halves are, and then the have nots are down here at the trough, like at the bottom.
mm,
And it's kind of the way it kind of functions there. And it's just even like there's no end to it, so it could kind of keep going up. Like, and you could even look at it like a line graph. Like effectively, you could even look at it from like right and it effectively looks, and I think it's also symbolic too of the journey that we take. Like right, we kind of dip down a little bit, but then we come back up if we know what we're doing, or we could just keep free falling down,
mm.
and we can kind of like it's either a dive board or a dive board down or a trampoline up is the way I see it, if you know how to play the game correctly with finances.
Yeah, well, the game with the fiat system is different from the game with the Bitcoin system.
Yes.
You can't really get rich the same way in the credit system that you can with the Bitcoin system. And I know that we've been talking about this for about a week or two now, where now that I'm fully moving into this understanding, I don't think anybody knows. I don't know if I told you exactly why I started this channel specifically, but I had I had a very interesting instance where I was driving to the gym, and this was just last week and a half ago, and I had heard a voice in my head saying it's time, and I didn't hear anything else. All I heard was it's time, and I follow Christ, and so I've heard this before, and this is not like a religious thing. It's just talking about the
Yeah.
experience here. And so I just went about my day, and then all of a sudden, I just felt this very strong conviction to start talking about Bitcoin and really go more into it, because I realized also it is time. Like it's a form of time. It's a mathematical equation with time. So what do you think? Because I know that you're very financially responsible. You're one of the most financially responsible people that I know. When it comes to the fiat system, though, like what do you see that's differentiating from the fiat system from the Bitcoin system based on what you know so far?
So based on what I know so far, and I'm gonna say it this way because that's how I was talking to somebody else about it. I have like a unga bunga understanding of Bitcoin, like very
Yeah.
caveman-esque and very primitive. But the little that I've seen from it, I think it's a more viable system because everything's moving in the direction of being digital. And because of that, if the fiat system really is just it's just paper that the government says, hey, this is worth something, it really is nothing. It's not even worth the paper it's printed on. That means that information and data is going to be worth more than something, and it really is. If you know a certain amount of information, that you could alter the course of the you can alter the course of an entire nation if you wanted to, and you can reshape the fabric of the entire world if you really wanted to. So data and information is becoming more valuable. And what I've seen with Bitcoin too is that in case with you that you've accepted as a form of payment, that if you take it as a form of payment for a job, if it does, for example, I don't know, 10x, then that means the job that you did 10x, like the amount of time you invested in actually went up, as opposed to with the fiat system, it's the money's worth less over time, right? And because it's worth less, it's actually worthless.
Hmm. Well, I was thinking about this earlier today. I realized you're basically volunteering for inflation when it comes to the fiat system at this point, because that's all that it is. And you can only manipulate the market for so long. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what our overlords are doing right now is they're manipulating the markets. I mean, the government shut down. I know that you're because of your line of work. there's something there also that you like has, even though it's not directly impacting you, it still has an
Yeah.
impact. And that's something that is to be said. And the value system of the fiat, it's literally taking away your purchasing power day by day,
Yeah.
while you're not even getting technically paid
Yeah.
for the while the government is shut down. You'll get that money back, of course, when the time comes, but will it actually be that 10x? Is it
Yeah.
future, or will you have less purchasing power? And of course, I foresee Bitcoin. I kind of act like it's already at 500,000,
Yeah.
as far as, just because it's easier to buy and just kind of forget about it. Like,
Yeah.
if you are buying, and yeah, for my business right now, I'm just accepting the Bitcoin. I'm not even investing anything. I'm just
Yes.
letting the Bitcoin come to me, basically. And that's where you say that work is going to, through time, 10x itself. And I think that's going to be the case. But with the fiat system, it's like you're literally working for something that is depreciating in value.
100%. And I even and you said one key word there that I wanted to touch on is inflation. The fiat system works on your own inflation of self or ego,
Yeah.
because you kind of it kind of incentivizes you to feed into your own self interest and kind of forget about the principle, sort of say. And I find it so hilarious that the financial terminology kind of bleeds into the spiritual side of things.
Mm,
Because when I think about the principle, I mean, it means I'm not paying any respects to. Well, I same thing. I follow Christ, so it would be so no respects to Christ. If I'm not paying into the principle, that means I'm not paying any respects over there. I'm feeding into my own ego. So if I'm feeding into my own ego, that means I'm worshiping the devil, basically. What I can see with my eyes, what I can feel with my five senses. I'm basically like my north star would be the inverted pentagram in the fiat system, is what I see.
hmm. Ooh, that's interesting. Could you
Yeah.
expand more on that last part?
So the idea is that the way the visual cortex works in the brain, the left eye bounces somewhere in the right brain, and then it comes all the way back. And if you look up the sigil of Lucifer on your visual cortex, it actually lines up very well, which basically is the upside down pentagram. So that's what I'm saying. And not to mention that the pentagram itself spirit is supposed to be the north, like the highest point of that star, and then the four elements. The pentagram, the inverted pentagram, flips it upside down and puts spirit below and the material as priority.
Hmm.
And that's what I see with the fiat system, because it encourages you it encourages you to go into debt to keep getting things that you think you need.
Hmm.
And
Well, and that's something that you can't do with Bitcoin. I mean, you could use Bitcoin irresponsibly, sure.
yes,
Uh, and it's not immune to, any kind of potential for fraudulent activity, just as much as any other currency. But there are safety protocols that you can have with Bitcoin, and there are spiritually sound ways of viewing Bitcoin. Like, it is mathematical. You don't need to trust anybody. You can just verify it, and
yeah,
that's very nice. Now, it's not entirely, because it is decentralized, but it's not entirely anonymous per se. It's like a pseudo anonymous, where
gotcha.
because, like, if I know your wallet address, even though it may be a bunch of series of letters and numbers, if I know it, then I can look and verify what you're doing with the wallet. I don't know how much is in it or anything like that, but I can see,
uh,
yeah, I can see what you're doing.
so you
And
can see the inflow and outflow into the account, so you can see there's activity. You don't know what's in it, but you can see the activity going in and out. Okay, so yeah,
yes,
like okay,
correct.
gotcha.
So that's kind of like, so again, it's like a pseudo anonymous, uh, where you kind of can see the activity and such. Ethereum specifically, I'm not really a fan of the altcoins or anything like that, because I see it as another, now that I understand it more, I see Ethereum and all the other altcoins and all that meme coins. they're all just fiat systems. They're all their own like ecosystem of fiat
Yes.
pretending to be something that isn't fiat. That's the way that I see it. And the reason for that is because look at all of the meme coins that are possible. Okay, so if let's say you and I made a meme coin,
Mhm.
I don't know, we can call it Lion Coin,
Yeah.
something like that, right?
Yeah.
So we call it Lion Coin. Okay, well, if we put down a certain amount of money to make it valuable to begin with, we have to invest just for making it easier to understand. Say we put down $5,000 or $10,000 into this meme coin. And so now it has a certain value in the market. And other people can purchase the mark like the meme coin, right?
Yeah.
So if more and more people start to put money into the meme coin, well, obviously the meme coin kind of starts to appreciate in value. Well, as the owner of that meme coin, I could just say, "Oh, I'm actually going to take all of that now." So it's another trust. It's kind of like the way the government can say, "Oh, actually, your money's worth nothing."
Yeah.
Do you
So,
understand? Like, do you see what I'm saying or no?
oh dear God, no! I'm laughing because it's like, eh, see, we put a lot of trust itself in the federal government. Do it with that, but like, even though it's still ran by people, and some individual can just do that. Like the government's ran by individuals, so at any point they just pull the rug out from under you, and it'll be fine.
Yes. See, but you can't do
Like,
that with Bitcoin though. Like,
yeah,
uh, if somebody has a lot of Bitcoin, I mean, no, let's say, for example, Michael Saylor, who is
mhm,
obviously like the billionaire Bitcoin guy. Um, I don't know,
yeah,
like, what else to call him at this point, but he owns something like 630,000 Bitcoin for his company. So he owns what 1/30th, maybe roughly speaking, of Bitcoin.
yeah,
So
around that.
yeah, so what would happen if he were to sell all his Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin isn't owned by anybody. It doesn't have a
Okay,
CEO. It would Bitcoin would lose its value a little bit, but it would still
yeah.
be available. Now things would be available, and so more people could opt into it.
No, because it just goes back on the open market. Like obviously, like
Exactly.
you like in the
Yep.
stock market, things like people sell their shares, but it just goes back onto the open market. Like
Yes.
now that actually incentivizes people to come in and grab more because there's more available.
Correct. So it's a literal mathematical equation. It's not something that is built on trust. It's completely
Mm,
verifiable. That's what I mean when I say it's verifiable.
okay. So no, because I'm sitting here thinking, so right, so because it just goes back on the market, anybody can scoop it up. The way I see it is just like anytime like a specific like rare car pops up for auction or something, like something rare pops up for auction, everybody, oh my god, like, and then the fanfare comes, and then
Yep.
this is where Bitcoin would reach another high point because everybody's buying into to get in at that price. Okay.
Yes. So over time, its value can only go up, like potentially speaking.
What would kill the value? Like, what could happen? Like that, like for example, tomorrow, like say it's 100,000, what would crash it to zero in this case? Would you happen to know that
Well, everybody would have to sell it.
at
And
one time? Like everybody's, if you screw it, this is no, we're not doing this anymore.
yeah, everybody would have to sell it. And I can tell you this, I'm not selling. So it's going to be worth something. And I know other people in the network that I have that are not selling. Uh,
Yeah.
so it's going to be worth
Hmm.
something. But but yeah, like if let's say 50% of the people started to sell the bit, well, look at what happened on October 10th, for example, where it was up to 126,000 or so.
And people cash out. Okay, so
And
it's
people went out and and turned it into liquidity, right? So what happened there? Well, you can't really look at that Number one, I think that was, not financial advice, not
Yeah, and just
it's pure speculation. And I think it's appropriate to speculate about this kind of thing because it's important to understand, like, you can't really plan for these kinds of things ever, of course. Like, you don't know when they're going to happen, but you can look at why things happen the way that they did when in retrospect. And from what I saw and in my research, was what happened was is that essentially at like 5 p.m. on a Friday night, you had about 500 million to $1 billion worth of crypto in Binance being liquidated all of a sudden. Okay. So you think and Trump just so happened to announce tariffs on China after that. Something it was just, the timing of it was all
yeah.
very strange. I don't know the exact times of that day, but it was very late in the afternoon when all of a sudden that much money within the crypto markets got liquidated on specifically Binance.
Mm.
So
Is,
to
is
me,
Binance a Chinese-based company? Was it an even?
no, I don't think so. I think something happened to where I don't know the exact like details of that.
Gotcha.
Um, I know that I know that Binance itself is not Chinese though. Let me
Okay.
quickly verify that.
Yeah, because because all of this starts to overlap and connect. And I don't know, me personally, from what I'm seeing, same thing with the stock market. Like the stock market's just like, I don't know what itself is going on. And I'm not very familiar with stocks by any stretch of the
Oh,
imagination. What is it?
oh, you're right. Yep, I stand corrected. So it was Binance was founded in 2017 by, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, Changpeng Zhao, who
Okay.
is originally based in China. So then Trump
China.
so then
China.
so then um yeah, so then all of a sudden Trump announces the tariffs and that
Mm.
spiked it down even more. So
And the plot thickens.
yeah, so what happened there, I don't know, but again, I don't know the exact details, but I do know those few facts,
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
that spiraled out into what it was. But yeah, it definitely kind of like it was orchestrated because tension. I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying kind of looks like that. Because on
Allegedly.
Friday afternoon, since when does 500 million to $1 billion worth of crypto in one specific platform just get liquidated? And then that same day, all of a sudden, the terrorists
Yeah.
are back.
It's interesting. It'd be interesting to look at what happened. Tariffs got imposed and then they all sold their crypto? Yeah, because the
Yeah,
government probably would have already been like everybody. Like I'm pretty sure they work like 8 to 4:30 or something. Like they work like regular hours. I don't think they like go.
yeah,
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know.
so because I just don't see like I don't know. Everybody just kind of starts to get a little frantic when they hear that. And taxes go up, everybody starts to get a little frantic
Well,
because regardless on the platform.
yeah.
But I'm gonna look a little bit into that because I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, there's more information about it to be sure, but yeah, like I said, I only know those few details. I knew enough to where I knew it was like something's off because
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. And that's like one of the only weaknesses that I can see with Bitcoin as well is like you have the potential to manipulate the market for sure, but I mean, what are you gonna sell it? What are you gonna sell your Bitcoin for? Like
Yeah.
to volunteer in inflation? I mean, what are you? What do you?
No,
The more that I study, go ahead.
no. Go. I wasn't gonna say
Well,
anything.
it's just like the more that I study Bitcoin, the more I'm thinking to myself, why even? Why even? Apart from paying bills and maybe having a peace of mind fund to some degree, what is the point of a fiat currency to have in this day and age?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just asking a question. I don't know.
No, I 100% agree with you because it literally is to process the daily transactions.
Hmm.
Like maybe that, may, oh dear God, I just thought about it. Same thing with the up and down and the like the back and forth, like the day, night. Maybe it really is just like the fiat currency would effectively would be the currency of the world because it is like you just kind of like go use it day in and day out. Like it's kind of like how you can't like use your job to gauge who you are as a person
Hmm.
because like there's a filter in between. Like let's say you're at a position at a job, right? Like let's say you're a manager at a job. Like people are going to treat you good because you're the boss, but like would they really treat you good if you were in a different position? And that's kind of like the way we have to look at it. Like Bitcoin kind of lets you see what it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I like about Bitcoin. It doesn't pretend to be more valuable than it isn't. It's
Hmm.
not like an X, for example.
Yeah.
Like, just, it's not when when they pretend to be more valuable than they really are. Like,
Ah, dear God.
yeah, no, just a joke. But
We
yeah,
no,
it's
we talked about that earlier though. Like
yeah.
say along those lines, where I said it's kind of like it's just an really is just like the person who's so high on their own significance because it kind of is because we incentivize we literally self perpetuate the inflation. We
Hmm.
really do, and that's the same thing. Like we keep incentivizing bad behavior through fiat, and that's what's happening is like we because we keep feeding into it because we keep wanting more and more and more, and then it's just like even like the joke with like the like it was a funny video I saw a long time ago, and then it was like this Chinese guy's like, hey, he's like act like an American. He's like, I'll just buy it. I'll just put it on my credit card. Like, yeah,
Hmm.
and that's what it is because we go into debt. I sometimes wonder. I'm like, how do these people have these $100,000 trucks? Because a pickup truck now, like a good one, or like
Yeah.
a Cadillac Escalade, they're $100,000. I'm like, bro, who's buying this? Like
Hmm.
seriously.
Well, I mean, I used to work for digital marketing for dealerships, and
Hmm.
I would they were almost always loans. Like they never paid the full amount. And I have experience there where I saw some weird stuff happening in the auto industry, man. It was a very strange industry because number one, people aren't buying new cars or new trucks or anything.
Yeah.
There there's just not enough funds available. But at the same time, they want to keep up with the Joneses. So they're they're literally just taking loans out to pay off their loans.
I'll pay this credit card with that credit
Yeah.
card. I don't know. I don't know if you ever. I don't even know if you ever seen Two and a Half Men, but I literally saw like Charlie Sheen's brother in that show. Like he was doing that. Like he was like, all right, I'll use this credit card to pay off this credit card, and then this one I'll do this one, and then this one will be left for next month. And like,
I mean,
bro,
you could do that, but it's not a good strategy.
no, it really isn't. And now that you mention even that, like, it's funny how we're so primitive sometimes because the way I look at my car, it's like the horse from back in the day, from the horse and carriage days,
Mhm.
and we keep doing all this stuff to like kind of like the horse passes through so many hands. And
Mhm.
like it's not even at its same glory anymore because it's gotten older, it's decayed. Like it can't run as fast as it used to. It can't do all these things, and like people want to. And by the way, it costs a lot of money to keep up to preserve the past to the point where like even with like an older car, vintage cars, was all of this just nonsense because of fiat? Like I'm just like when I say it out loud, I'm like, bro, like wait a second, like how oh my God. What the
No,
heck?
that's where I'm at, dude. That's where I'm
Oh,
like,
dear God.
this is the cool thing about Bitcoin is even if it isn't what people are saying it is, or if we can't verify it, like even if it isn't that, it's opening our minds. It truly is like a psychedelic where you're opening your mind to the system for what it really is. And you're seeing it and you're just thinking to yourself, why did we ever decide to do this? Well, well, obviously, the reason why was to fund wars and to be involved in politics. The politicians will be making more money. And
Yeah.
because look at where our tax dollars are going here in the United States anyway. Well, instead of going to the roads, to fix the roads or to, better infrastructure, better education, it's going to other countries. And so we're literally devaluing ourselves. Like if you think about it spiritually, because I'm glad you brought up the spiritual side of it earlier as well, is like think about the spiritual side of it. We are literally robbing ourselves of our own potential day by day. And I see Bitcoin as an antidote potentially for that because you can't create more of it.
Yeah.
You and the more imagine right now if there were only 50 countries in the world that had like a Bitcoin reserve. Do you know how much more incredibly valuable it would be through time? And this is why I made a video last week for this channel. It was owning zero point zero 0.01 Bitcoin can change your life or something like that. That's like $1,000.
Yeah, I looked it up today because I was curious. Like,
Yeah,
how much would that mean? It's kind of a drop in the bucket, honestly. If you really think about it, you could
yeah,
you'll spend that on some nonsense throughout the year.
yep. And the thing is like, um, think about this as well. In the future, imagine a world where we're not going to be using dollars or cents or quarters or pennies. We're going to be using sats and Bitcoin. Are you familiar with the term sats?
No, I didn't. When you brought it up, I'm not sure.
So sats are basically smaller units of measurement to get to a Bitcoin. So like
Okay.
like 4,000 sats is like $5.
Oh, okay. So it's like the quarters and pen, like, but just on a digital
Yes.
sense, like
So
quarters, pennies.
yes. So
Okay.
if I remember right, it's like a million sats. That's if I remember correctly. It's like either a million sats is one Bitcoin or 10 million sats is one Bitcoin. Uh,
Seems more like 10 million would be more.
or is it 100 million? Let's do. Okay, so yeah, it's 100 million sats is one Bitcoin.
Okay.
So a cup of coffee is going to be 4,000, 5,000 sats, and uh, groceries for the week is going to be like 200,000 sats for a family of five or whatnot.
Gotcha.
So when people there's in the Bitcoin community, they always say stack sats, and there are people that are advocating even just $1 a week. Like, can you sacrifice just $1 a week to build your Bitcoin portfolio? Because through time, it will add up in your Sats, and those Sats are going to be worth more down the line, of course.
So
The
you're
more,
basically saying that the sats are like penny stocks for Bitcoin. Like you buy
I
very,
mean,
very cheap.
yeah, I mean, I never thought of it like that, but the Sats are basically just it's like a unit of measurement for the Bitcoin itself. It's not really,
Gotcha.
as far as what I can tell on what I've purchased Bitcoin with or what I've received Bitcoin with for my business, I don't see that you can actually purchase Sats per se. Sats is like
Gotcha.
it's like describing, okay, 25 cents.
Okay.
Well, that's a quarter, but we don't really say, oh, it's a quarter. We say it's 25 cents.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's more like that's the
Gotcha.
vocabulary we would adopt down the
Uh,
line.
Gotcha. My thing is like, because I don't want to like take up too much time with like exploring the history of itself. But effectively, what Bitcoin is just information and data is basically what I'm gathering from. Like that's because like
Yes.
of
I
what?
mean,
Like that's where I get
it
to.
is, well, it's time. Like that's really what it is, I think. because and I'm no Bitcoin guru or anything like that, even though
Yeah.
I'm very much a proponent of it, and I think and I believe in it. I don't think it's smart to invest everything into Bitcoin because that's just not smart. It's just not smart as far as
Yeah,
investments go.
it really is. It's just it's also risk assessment on the person who's doing the investment. Like you're not gonna
Right.
say if you have $1,000 in your savings, don't put $1,000 in Bitcoin. Like like you need that. Like
Yeah.
and this is where people kind of get a little bit like crazy and like do no, nobody's telling you to put yourself in a financially compromised position. If you can make all investments and all things, you always walk into every situation in a position of power. You never walk away like and at least let's say for example, let's say in a conversation, at least we got to meet at 50-50, right? Because in that context, right, it
Yeah.
can't be 51-49. It can't be none of this back and forth stuff. Like we have to stay at that like 50 point where, like, for example, back and forth, good dialogue, let's talk. Like nobody's telling you go throw it all in. Like, for example, listen to us on the internet and like base your whole life around that. Like that's just ignorance on your behalf at that point as
Yeah.
an individual.
And it's kind of gay. Yeah. like, like to base your whole life around what somebody on the internet says, no matter who
Yeah,
you are, is just like no matter who it is or who they are, it's just
yeah,
anyway, that's just my thought. But because I don't want to be living my life the way another man or woman tells me how I should be living. It's like, no, I'm gonna go to God with this. Uh,
yeah,
and I'll take the truth and I'll receive it. I'll receive the truth and I'll accept it, but I'm not gonna apply anything that I don't feel is necessary until I
yeah.
communicate with God about it.
I think 10% would be healthy. If you have, let's say, I don't know, 10 grand, then yeah, then 10% would be fine. If you have $100,000, be 1%. So I think you could, at $100,000, you can invest 1% of that $100,000. You'd be fine.
Are you specifically in
Yeah, and
Bitcoin?
Bitcoin,
Yeah,
yeah, like for
yeah,
really, like that's where I'm kind of at right now because it's you have to transition into it. Like it's
yeah.
like you can't. The thing is, people are approaching it. You can Jesus Christ, is because this is a whole different system. You cannot approach it fiat based. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna go get a loan and I'm gonna do all this crazy stuff and all this creative finance
Hmm.
to make something happen. That's not this system doesn't incentivize that. And see, like you said, it's based on in maths, therefore it's based in principle. And the way I see it, the highest principle is God,
Yeah.
right? And even the word in the word principle, you see the word prime, meaning first.
Hmm. Mm.
That's exactly where I'm at because God is the perfect math teacher. God is the perfect everything. And slice it all the way down wherever you want. Forget the perfect musician, the perfect astronomer, everything perfection. Like
Yeah.
that's where we have to look at it from the perspective and see. And loan terminology, the fiat system only encourages you to pay into the interest, of course, because the more interest that there is, and the more stuff like that, the more you keep cycling through the debt. And kind of this is where you start to develop and and the fiat system kind of encourages that happy wife, happy life kind of mentality because you kind of there's actually a Tom and Jerry episode. Oh my God! Like he went and signed his life away. Got a car, got a ring. He got the tiniest diamond possible. He got 30% interest rate. Sign. This says sign, sign. Literally sign your whole life away.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what you're doing. Well, and I've mentioned this to you. It's like you're not you're not really buying Bitcoin when you buy Bitcoin. You're selling the fiat.
Yes.
And I think that's just a good mentality to approach it with. And I think it's also practically correct and technically correct.
Yes.
But I also think that it's just a mindset as well, because I even am thinking about, I'm glad that you also brought up the principle thing, because one way that I'm doing Bitcoin now, I'm not investing per se. Like I'm not buying hundreds and hundreds of dollars or whatever, or even thousands of dollars. I'm not doing that. Majority of what I'm doing right now with Bitcoin is just accepting it from for my work.
Yeah.
And I think that's a much healthier way for me anyway, like that's what's working for me right now. So I'm going to allow, as you talked about, that work to really just multiply itself
Yeah.
uh, through time. And look, even if it doesn't multiply through time the way that it does, I now have a better understanding of the fiat system, and I now have a better understanding of why it's even more important. Because let's be real, the likelihood that Bitcoin is going to go to zero is very low.
Yeah.
It's just very low. There's too many people. Think about this: 6 months ago, people were begging for it to be $100,000, right?
Yeah.
And now that it went down to 107,000, people were like freaking out. Okay, 6 months ago they were begging for 100,000,
Yeah.
and now it's like 100,000 is boring. Like what? What are you talking about? So it can only potentially go up, I think, and
Yeah.
it's also a very new technology. Only 1.7% of the people in the world own a Bitcoin or part of the Bitcoin.
Jesus. I see. And see, no, I was thinking about it because you could sit here and say, well, bro, if it goes to zero, then all that work you put in was worth nothing. Well, it's already 97% worthless because that's what the dollar is. So it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, do you think the dollar is any better? I, like somebody, I was talking to somebody on X, and they were like, "Oh, Bitcoin is idolatry and greed," and I thought to myself, "I- "Okay, let's assume that it is, and fiat isn't. Like, even let's assume, like, even let's accept that premise. Uh, Fiat isn't. So what? We just shouldn't live, like, because we kind of need money to live in this planet."
You leave my toxic ex girlfriend Fiat out of this. She loves me. She loves me.
Leave the woman in the red dress alone.
Oh God. No, and see, and it is an idolatry. So, as many times have we seen people commit atrocities for fiat currency, for paper that's worth nothing, but that's not idolatry. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. We haven't seen people kill for the fiat currency that is ever depreciating in value anyway. Uh, yeah,
God,
yeah.
man.
I couldn't believe that. I thought to myself, this is somebody that clearly hasn't studied it because
Do, do you even hear what you said? Like even just again, it's that interest component because he's like, I'm gonna get more than likely that person behind the keyboard. I'm gonna get him with this one. I'm
yeah,
gonna get him with this. He fed into his own interest, and in the reality, all he did was make himself look like a fool.
pretty much, pretty much. And the
Oh
thing
man.
is, though, is that they don't even realize this. And look, I'm not trying to convince anybody, but I'm just speaking the truth.
Yeah,
All I'm saying is that the fiat system is a waste of time, as far as I can tell.
it literally is.
And so, like, why not maybe believe in something that could be better?
See,
I,
and you go.
well, it's like, well, I'll leave it at that for the moment. Yeah,
No, because I like once you start talking, I start going, and the gears start turning. Like, oh my god, like no, because
yeah,
you literally said if Bitcoin is a unit, a way like is a unit of time or a way to like account for time, and the fiat system is just a waste of time. Why would you want to throw away your most valuable resource?
yeah.
Like that's just like when you start thinking about that, is that people, you know, people are ridiculous sometimes, and I mean people like us also include. Like we're all included in this. Nobody's saying like anybody's exempt here, no, but people will spend so much time on figuring out how not to spend time, and by simple virtue of that, they are spending time. So
Hmm.
we have to focus on things that devalue your time and disempower your time. Those are the two things you can focus on. These are the things that are actually in your control. The other thing you can't, because it's just by simple consequence of the paradox that is existence and the universe. This is going to happen. You can't avoid this side.
Right.
See, but so many people try and do this. And this is where I see like this is where I've discussed it in a different way with you before, where like people are trying to claw their way and con their way back into Eden. We're
Mm.
not going back, guys. Like that's it. Like it's done. Like we're here now. Like we have to deal with what's in front of us, and how we move forward from this. And that's what I'm seeing with Bitcoin. And this is coming from somebody that like, bro. Like you're talking skeptical as hell, like very skeptical about everything. But
Yeah.
but the reality that is just making me think in that form just puts me in a position to where like I have to look deeper at it. See, but this is what happens also in and for example, like right, for lack of a better term, the self-improvement community, that like people are become aware of this stuff, and instead of leaning into this new awareness, they backpedal into their own crap, and this is why they never make any progress.
Yeah.
And they kind of stay stuck in this fiat system. That's why I said it's kind of like a snake, because it kind of starts constricting you even more and more and more, to the point where like it consumes you. It literally, like, it wraps you up in like a python and eats you.
I mean, that's literally you literally just described the Python spirit in the Bible. Uh, I don't know if you know, like, I don't know if you realize that,
Yeah, you've
but
mentioned it
but
one time.
yeah,
See, and
yeah. I
there's
mean,
things like
that's
that that
I'm,
go, because I mean, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna.
we're both like so pumped. We're both super pumped about it. But yeah, so I mean, the whole serpent thing, that is literally, it's a continuous cycle, and the Python, it doesn't need to kill you, so to speak. It
Yeah,
just needs to extract your energy. And that's continually what we're doing in the fiat system. It's never ending. It is never ending. Even if you did pay off all the debt, I did this thought experiment the other day. I thought to myself, I mean, let's say, because we've had conversations with other people that are very financially responsible, and they've said that if everybody paid off their debt, the bank system would collapse. It's like, well, but what would happen to the fiat system? Would the money be worth anything? And I didn't think about it until after that, and I thought to myself, okay, well, let's say that everybody did pay off the debt. Well, then what? Would the fiat currency have value? I don't think it would, because
I don't think so either.
it's run off of interest. And even if you did pay off the interest in it, or even if you did pay off the debt, you'd still have to owe stuff. And so it's this constant, I mean, this is what you see in our healthcare system and our insurance, our car insurance. This is what you see in all these other aspects of life. We don't own our homes. Okay, HOA fees. We don't own those. Like, we don't really own our homes if we do have a home anymore. Uh, we don't really own our cars. Uh, what do we own?
Nothing.
We the only thing that we own is our air, like our own heartbeat and breath. That's pretty much it. So when we talk about I don't know if I can, screw it, the Agenda 2030, where it's like,
Mhm.
go own nothing and be happy. They mean that. They want you to believe that.
It because it's the natural progress. It's the natural progression of the fiat system, because the fiat system is all for political gain, and for somebody at the top to enforce their will on others. And not to mention that if you really look at it, it's an entire pyramid scheme. The fiat system is an entire pyramid scheme as a whole.
Yep.
But but see, that's the thing. If we take the example, right, I think, yeah, in Plato's Republic, yeah, the city is like the man.
Mhm.
That right there shows you that the only thing left, that the fiat system is subject to the polarities of this world. So therefore, you're going to play out into that bipolar shadow of the archetypes. You're going to be sadistic or masochistic. Like, there will always be the haves and the have-nots in the fiat system.
Mhm.
Always. This is by design, as you can see in that wave kind of thing, because it is that polarity kind of component: positive and negative streams, active and passive. Like, there's always going to be somebody at the top doing this stuff, and it always comes back to the top. Of course, it does. By design, it does.
Yeah, well, and I mean, this is something that I've also thought about with Bitcoin. This is one of the cons potentially with Bitcoin, is that, let's say everybody opts into Bitcoin now. Well, everybody that does have Bitcoin right now, they've got a massive head start.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like, it has the potential to create an even bigger wealth gap if everybody were to go into Bitcoin. And so it's like, well, shoot. Well, how would you solve that problem? I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't know how that problem would be
N-
solved.
Nothing in a sense, you know, because see, we have to readapt some of those kind of modalities. I said, I guess, from the fiat system, like money's about to change hand, and money's always changing hands in the fiat system. You just got to get in between it and like right and kind of rise through the ranks and see, and earn your stripes, sort of say. Because see, the people who have hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin earn their stripes, right? Because they actually saw it way before it was a thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of like seniority based in a sense.
Hmm.
Like when you get into a job and you start there, the first like, well, no shit, guy, you're not gonna be manager the next day. What the heck? Yeah, no matter how much ambition you got, bro, you gotta have a plan. You gotta have vision. You gotta figure things out and kind of move along the tracks. And I think that's kind of where like that's the pro in the fiat system. If you know how to play the game, you can actually start to rise up.
Right.
Like, but you have to play the game smart. You can't bicker and complain about, oh, I don't know, I don't want to do this because insurance is a scam. And bro, you needed to get around. What are you gonna do? You need a car in America. Depending on the area you are, but there's certain like there's areas where you can't escape it. You need a car. And see, and the reality is that I like the idea of everybody having a car because you get in your car and go wherever you want to go, and nobody can tell you a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Nobody can. I'm gonna go in my car and I'm gonna go. That's amazing. That really is the American spirit in a nutshell. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna go,
Yeah.
and nobody's gonna stop me.
The American dream started with a middle finger. Yeah.
That's why I think we love our cars so much, and we'll do anything. And we'll do anything for our little horse because it's our symbol of rebellion. I can do whatever I want. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go. and
Yeah.
and but we see the fiat, but we're in it now in the fiat system. So now it's transitioning out, like you said, trading up in a sense, or trading sideways if you want to look at it. I don't know, just trading to something else. But you got to kind of slow it, just like you progress in the gym, right?
Yeah.
You kind of gotta like do your benches and do your warm ups and come in and struggle with you, like right hitting yourself on like transfer fees and moving stuff over, and like you gotta kind of like, okay, so if I do this, it's just nobody wants to play anything anymore. Like people have been so worn down by the fiat system that they'd rather just stick with that than like try something else.
Yeah. Well, because they don't know anything, and I mean, people are very skeptical. I've asked a few older people in my community, my physical community, recently about if they know anything about Bitcoin, and they're like, well, no, I don't really know much. And I said, well, so do you know what the difference is between fiat systems and Bitcoin is? Oh yeah, I mean, I know what a fiat system is, and I said, but like, do you know how it works? Like, do you know how it works? And they're like, well, yeah, yeah. I said, okay. So, as far as Bitcoin goes, like, what is kind of deterring you from investing in it or learning more about it? Oh, well, I think it's a scam. I said, well, why do you think it's a scam? Well, internet stuff, and I can't hold it. I can't hold it in my hand. And I thought to myself, this is. I used to think this way. I used to think this way as well. And the antidote to that was to completely reshape how I view money and assets, because your time is not something that you can hold, but it's an asset, and it's the
Yeah.
most valuable asset that you have, right? Your time, your energy, your presence, that is an asset. Well, depending on who you are, I guess. Some people some people I'm just like liability. Stay away. I will walk around you at the grocery store if I feel like you're a liability, right? Because
Oh my God. I
what?
just thought about it, something with the word liability. Liability. It's a false ability. Like there
Mm,
is no ability in there for that person. Oh, but they're gone.
yeah, wow, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good play on words. And
God.
yeah, liability. Well, and then what asset? It's a set. What is the root word of asset?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. This is where I start getting very playful when I start thinking about stuff. because because the words, I always go equate it when I hear this stuff and I start wordsmithing. I always equate it to the first verse in chapter 1 in John.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's where I start, because that's the origin point. And see, and I'm doing something right now very interesting, because I just finished listening to the Four Gospels in audiobook version, but now I'm listening to it in Spanish. And now I'm kind of hearing different words and seeing different ways that they interpreted or said the things that they said. But in Spanish, it says in the beginning was the verb.
Oh, well, that makes sense because verbs grow.
You see,
Nouns don't. Yeah.
and that's where I started. That's where it gets very sick to me. Like that's where I'm like, oh damn, like that one thing just completely changes the trajectory of the way you think. That one little tiny thing, when you start realizing that the words that we say, right? That's why it's quote unquote called spelling, but because you cast spells, because you're casting different frequencies and energies and whatever the new age terminology is. But like it really, you really are sending something, because there's some, that's a call to action. That's what the most things that people seem to misunderstand, especially I think with your videos and everything. These are call to actions. These are
Yeah.
things to get up off your ass and do something about it. This isn't something you're gonna deal in conceptually. This has to this is the reality. You have to get up and do something about it.
Correct.
And this is
And
what we're trying to do here.
yeah, because we need to understand it. Like I think we both know that we both we both don't know
Yeah.
as much as we could, and we obviously know enough. Well, that's actually interestingly enough. The root word of asset apparently in Latin means to suffice or to be enough.
Okay.
So that kind of makes sense.
And God provides what you need, not what you want.
Ah, yes.
So what is sufficient, an asset, not not what you want, a liability, and that's what the
Yeah.
fiat system encourages: liabilities.
Yep. It really does. I mean, there's a reason. There's a reason why people, because it's just a game. Like it's a
Yeah,
game you have to play. And I was just thinking about this. Like the root chakra is associated usually with finances, right?
and
I,
safety. Yes.
yeah, I was just thinking about this. I wonder if it actually is. I wonder if money in the form of Bitcoin would still be associated with the root chakra.
Yeah, because it's the safety component. You want to feel safe. Everybody wants to feel safe. Yeah, some groundedness and safety. That's the thing, though. So I don't see why not. It's just one different currency to another. It's no different than saying from the U.S. dollar to the euro to the yen to the Canadian dollar to the British pound. It's just a different form of currency.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. But the currency has a source, and that's another thing. Same thing. The currency, like right, the current. Right, you
Mm-hmm.
got to see. And the reality is that we're coming to a point where, like, yes, with the fiat system, like, yes, it's the current system we use, but what we got to think about what's going to be the system in the future, and that's what we got to be more future focused in mind. And it's kind of difficult because you have to pull things from the past, and you got to pull things from the from the like you got to live now, but you got to live at three different things at once.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true.
And you really have to play the game very smart. And it's funny because you can do that. Like now I'm going into some other stuff, like I'm thinking like Pythagoras' decad, where like this is all explained, like the monad, the dyad, triad, and the tetrad and all that stuff. Like there's a bunch of stuff. I can go on forever on all this stuff, because like I can see it playing out. It's the
Mhm.
same thing where I look at it like this, like, yeah, it's great that you brought up the chakra system, because the four chakras, until you get to the heart, those are the four chakras, those are the four elements, those are four principles that we base our lives around.
Mm.
And that
Mhm.
and that and that earth principle is necessary, and that's why, because you need that stability. That's why the FU fund, or the peace of mind fund, is such a good thing, because it provides that subconscious stability, just like that subconscious emotional regulation, subconscious willpower, and subconscious abstract thought capacity.
Mm.
It's not some conscious thing you do sometimes, like, because these elements are playing around in the background. Like you don't think, yeah, I'm gonna activate my root chakra right now. No, it's playing out in the background. Like
Yeah.
like if you
Well,
get good enough, you could consciously use your chakra for or something, like really like wham. Like if, for example, you could use your solar plexus area to like hit really hard and things like that. You could do that.
well, it's interesting because I just started to feel as though my solar plexus was more involved with Bitcoin than it would be with the fiat. And the reason being is because I'm actually willing something to become something. Like fiat, I'm kind of just surviving.
Yeah.
Whereas with Bitcoin, I can actually will my currency to become something.
And see, oh my God, it's just I didn't want to say it that way, but like if Bitcoin really is what it says it is, it really is the salvation to the financial system.
It
There,
really is. I mean, I think it could be. I really do. Like I know the messianic form of finance, if Bitcoin really is what it says it is, and if it seems like what it is, I don't see how it wouldn't be the messianic form of finance.
yeah,
Because even though again, like we're both learning, we both have things to know
yeah,
about, but at the same time, we've got enough of a background and a solid foundation to where we can approach this very level-headedly, and we've both been burned enough to know that we don't need to be burned again, and that we're not going to take any stupid risks. Like we're willing to take risks, but we're not willing to be stupid about it. And because we've learned from those mistakes, and we have an understanding that we can see what it actually is based off the information and data that we have. But yeah, Bitcoin really is data. It's basically, and what else is reality but data?
yeah, information.
Yeah, I
And
don't see it anywhere. Yeah,
I'm just thinking about what you said with all because that's the same mindset I had too. Where you said, "No, I need to be able to see it. I need to be able to touch it." Yeah, okay, right, and yeah, and also let's go back to Vietnam and fight all these crazy wars that we shouldn't have fought. Like, let's do all that crazy stuff that we did, and it's like because the reality is that the things that you don't even see are the most real things possible. That's kind of what I realized because that's kind of where you have to kind of like in like an active realization, especially once you start following Christ, the layers just get deeper. And that's what we can call the way. But it's just like it really gets deeper when you start to realize, bro, no, like none of this, we've never seen any of this. And this is more real than the people we see on a day to day basis.
yes,
It's
yes.
go. Like,
The psychedelic comes into play, man. Yeah, the psychedelic of Bitcoin, it'll change you.
and even like because I was watching somebody a video describe psychedelics, and he was saying is like right Humpty Dumpty gets cracked, but you have to have a strong enough ego to put Humpty Dumpty back together, which is you. Like you have to so that's what I mean by like right. For example, you get on this high for a second, but you got to come back down and understand that yes, I have this information now, but now I got to do something with it. And
Yeah.
because I'm down here, quote unquote, on the in the material world or physical plane, there's going to be a delay, which is time. There's going to be a lag, but the seeds have been sown. I have an idea. Like I start to get very like wow because it's just like you said I don't even care anymore if it takes off or it doesn't take off. I really don't care. The idea, the fact that it revolutionized my thought was enough.
Right. I mean, that's exactly where I'm at. And
Yeah, like you said.
even if it does go down, I, I still don't want anything to do with fiat. I still
Yeah,
like,
like
and if it does go down, I see just Bitcoin being on sale even more than it already is. Like my mindset is that it's always going to be on sale because, and it's not even something. Again, I don't buy a Bitcoin. I attract it. It's really not.
yeah.
I mean that technically. Yeah, yeah.
I'm just sitting here because we were talking about all this stuff, and I just like I was thinking about the two like right like ideologies that are most prevalent in the world, which is just like capitalism and socialism and communism, like that whole idea. Like I always said, when I hear the word communism, I just hear consumer because that's all you can do is consume in a communist society. Consume whatever the government feeds you. While you're a capitalist, you can do something about it. You can capitalize and you can actually like literally like a capital letter stand out instead of being a lowercase letter,
Yep.
right? And that's where the idea comes in, and that's what it means to actually be. quote unquote capitalist is produced by any means. Obviously, with ethical and moral background established too. That doesn't go right. You don't just start doing things to produce money. You have to take all things into account, and it's kind of very difficult to do that sometimes because everybody goes into that like that whole first instinct thing. And you were discussing this right before with me between like the your brain with the amygdala component. Like when that thing's flared up, like you're not going to be thinking, like you're just going to be thinking about getting stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
More, keep feeding the fat kid more, like.
Yep.
And
that's all that it is. Yeah.
And the fiat system encourages you to get high in your own significance, which is idolatry.
Yep.
Right. It literally incentivizes all the seven deadly sins and every single possible bad behavior. It incentivizes. See, this is where you kind of got to know what you're doing, because see, even like Jesus hung out with the worst of people, yet he never came out dirty.
It's true.
And that's what we have to do. We have to follow in his footsteps, because see, we become. I think we're so ungrateful sometimes because of the fact that we don't see those things. Like we try to make our own pathway and do all that stuff, which is going into debt. And that's one of the key takeaways that I want to leave in the video is every time you hear the word debt, you hear the word death. Just think about it like that. Every time you're going to put yourself into debt, you kill yourself a little bit. Death. Because you kill off future potentialities. The more money because you're betting on your future self, basically, in the wrong way, actually.
In the very wrong way. Yep. Well, I think that's actually a good place to stop for this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we've been going on.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have plenty of opportunities to go. And I'm sure the more we learn about it, like as the days go on, as the weeks go on, we'll have more to engage with, because this is a topic that, I mean, we can go.
No, look, bro, I've never been so excited to talk about finances, and I mean that like literally.
I know. That's one thing that I literally. So I have my notebook where at the end of the day I'll write down the good things that happened that day. Last week I wrote down in one of the days I said to myself, like, one of the good things, I'm legitimately excited to learn about finance. Like, I've never liked finance. I've hated. I've always found it to be a chore. I've hated.
Yes, because it's not even fun. Because I just sat there and I thought about it. How much planning goes into just getting to the next month?
Yes, well, the Bitcoin makes it fun while also very disciplined.
Yes,
and I think that's like the spiritual soundness of it. Is it's fun, but it's also very grounded.
Yeah,
and that's what makes it what it is.
It's twofold.
Yeah, but
you
hey,
know, I was just thinking, because I was thinking about the shape of the letter B. You notice how both like they're on the same like plane, like the ups and downs are on the same plane. Like there is no there is no one over here and one over there.
Yeah, dude. That's
That's what oh dear God, man, no, because I start getting, when I say these little things, like, man.
Yeah, I mean, and that could be on purpose or on accident, but either way,
Yeah,
the symbol is for what it is.
yeah,
and it's a symbol for a reason. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and we're definitely going to have conversations about this. But I hope everybody stays blessed out there. Peace be with you all.